The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Greg Bakken. It's great to be here. It is great that we're at the weekend. Boy, it's been a busy week. And, you know, I was over in Stillwater today because we're getting ready for our big Tuesday night 3-hour episode of GhostBox Radio celebrating Halloween. We're doing it from Stillwater, and we're over at Midwest Witchery and Healing, who is putting on this event for us, and or this live broadcast rather. And Jody asked me, how are things going? I said, boy, this has been really a busy October. But I thought, boy, that's really validation that we're actually doing some good stuff over here, because we're so busy. Every weekend we've had events and stuff, and then we're going to kind of cap off this spooky season by having this massive 3-hour. It's going to be actually very technically challenging. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I guess, Adam, I just keep laughing because it's like, boy, this could be worth listening to just to see how much it falls apart. I don't know. It's going to be good though.
You're gonna bring in a book of ghost stories in case everything falls apart to fill time.
You may need to do that. Actually,
I have faith in you.
If people were to go by looking at the control room and the studio right now, they'd think that AM 950 forgot to pay the electric bill this month.
Oh crap! I knew I forgot to do.
Yeah,
something.
Exactly. You had one job.
I had one job.
Well, here's the thing too. You look at my screen and it looks like it's pretty well lit, but that's an illusion because of the camera we're using. I think the iris is set just too high on that. Because you see?
Yeah, because you look much brighter than what I see looking across the studio at you, where it looks like you're in one of the old 1800s on the stage where they're putting the whiskey bottle in front of the light.
You know what? It actually looks like that I'm a colorized black and white picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It kind of does, but it kind of works for this show.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, right? We just kind of go with the flow. Speaking of the flow, there is no flow. It's Friday. We can talk about whatever we want to. So, if you have something you want to talk about, put it into the comments. We'll address it. We'll talk about it. Also, you can call in if you have anything that's on your mind that you want to say. Keep it clean, of course. 952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. Also, we're going to be taking calls on Tuesday's show because we'll be asking questions like, what are you dressed as for Halloween? What do you dress your child as? Did you dress your child and yourself the same? All those great important questions. So there's a lot to talk about here. And also I have some plans too. This segment we'll be talking about whatever Adam and I want to talk about. But the second segment, if we don't have anyone calling in and stuff, if you might remember that last week, I did ask the question about pets in the afterlife. Have you been visited by your pet? I have a ton of responses, and they need to be read because people took the time and put their heart into talking about how their little furry friends have come back. And I have breaking news in the pet afterlife world that I want to share as well with that. So we have all that to look forward to, Adam. It's going to be quite the way to bring in the weekend.
It really is. And, we teased it last night. I think maybe we should talk about The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't get a chance to talk about it because I went down with Captain Trips shortly thereafter.
Yep. Like I said, we had a memorial for you and then found out you're still alive. And that's, and when I say it's a bummer, I don't mean because you're alive, but because we went through all that extra work to put a clip show together of all your like 3 things you've said on the show. So,
well, I gotta kill time somehow.
Right, right. They don't call you the time filler for nothing.
Dynamite drop in.
So, okay, why don't we do this then? First of all, I put in my picture for tonight and whatnot. I put in Doctor Who, and the only reason why I did so is because I'm just excited, being a big Doctor Who fan, that new episodes of Doctor Who returns on November 25th. For us in the States, it's going to be only available through Disney Plus, which is a big change because it used to be, the new episodes used to always be on BBC America, but that's different now. It's all done now. And I know that there's some fans who are not happy about that because they don't feel that they need to pay for Doctor Who. But you know what? I see it otherwise. I see, well, we see Star Wars universe expanded. We see Marvel universe expanded. I want to see an expanded Doctor Who universe.
And if it gets popular enough, maybe they'll put in a Doctor Who section in one of the Disney parks.
I mean, wouldn't that be crazy?
It actually would be kind of fun. And I will wholly admit, I've only seen a handful of Doctor Who episodes in my entire life, but it would be cool to get into a life-size TARDIS and see exactly how spacious that is.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, all those, especially like you look at something like the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
At the, you see the house, you see the house facade, but what you don't see is the massive building behind it. That's actually the ride. To me, that's like, you do something like that, everyone goes through the police box and you're in this massive universe. I mean,
yeah, and it could be a blast.
It's going to be amazing. So I was really excited about that. I'm really happy that that they're doing it, and you can see in the trailers that there's money being spent on Doctor Who. For I think it's Disney does not own Doctor Who, but clearly they have a stake in it. So you see all this extra money. It just looks richer. It looks really good. So I think it's going to be really fun to watch as we get into it. So
I just hope they don't mess it up by making it too pretty.
Well, never know. I mean, the thing is that they brought in Russell T. Davis, who was what they brought back when the show came back in 2005, and it went to high acclaim. So I think it's gonna be all right. So now, to your point, Adam, as it's been what, about a month, since we saw the Exorcist Believer film. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a little too fast paced, if that makes any sense. I think they could have spent a little bit more time dealing with the father-daughter relationship a little bit more. But other than that, it does set up the franchise for another trilogy for sure, with the main character in this one taking over for Reagan's mother from the first set. And I'm being vague because there are folks who still haven't seen it, who I know still want to see it, because I know it's about to drop on a couple of the streaming networks in the next week or so. So you'll have your chance to see it then. The pacing to me was a little fast as opposed to the original Exorcist movie, which I went in with that mindset, and that was the wrong mindset. After digesting that flick, it is its own standalone movie to set a new franchise up.
It is, and I don't know if you would agree with this, Adam, but I feel like, first of all, the original Exorcist film, nothing can touch it.
No, it is one of the best horror movies ever made.
It is truly iconic, and I feel like the subsequent sequels that lead up to the most recent Exorcist Believer, not counting Exorcist Believer, I feel like that those are more gore films. They're kind of slasher gore in a sense. This newest one feels like it belongs in the Conjuring universe.
Yeah, there was one jump scare, and it's at the very beginning and really has nothing to do with the possession.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with that, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
No,
but it's certainly, you can see what the industry is taking notice of those Conjuring films.
And I like the fact that it wasn't CGI to death.
No,
the makeup on as the girls in the movie are being possessed is fantastic. fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
The visual effects that they did use were absolutely wonderful. And there is a great message in this movie
Yeah.
that I hope isn't lost on the viewing audience.
Oh, it's very true. It is very true. And it's thought out very, I think it's thought out pretty well. There's one thing that I absolutely disagree about with it, but you and I will have to talk about that off air because I don't want to spoil it either for anybody. But but that's just a personal opinion. Yeah, no, it's really good. But if you're going in thinking that we're getting something on the caliber of the original Exorcist, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not. But it's still I'm not going to say it's a great flick, but it's definitely a good flick to set up this franchise for the main character to do something big in subsequent movies coming later.
Now, and in my mind, it's my second favorite Exorcist film.
I would agree with that. Totally.
And do you think the intention of this film was to negate the sequels and kind of be a sequel to the original only?
Yes, because they go back to Chris, the mother from the first one, who drops a ton of knowledge. And there is a line in there that kind of bugs me that she states. That really bugs me about the hierarchy during Reagan's exorcism. That bugs me.
I know which one you're talking about.
But the rest of it, the handover essentially from Reagan's mother to the new main character, I think that worked fantastically.
If anyone wants to share their spoiler-free, we don't want to spoil it. If anyone shares their spoiler thoughts, spoiler-free spots, yeah, spoil it, people, spoil away. No, if you want to put in there what you think, don't put any spoilers in there. Put it in the comments. If you want to talk to us about it, you can call us up at 952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. And yeah, I think it was good. I mean, it took, you know what? It's odd though, Adam. It took me a while to come to the decision that it was good. I didn't leave there myself going, okay, I had to kind of sit on it for a couple days, really.
Exactly. You kind of had to digest it.
I did. And I ran it because Dave Schrader was there, and he kind of did the announcing and stuff for the film. They did trivia and whatnot beforehand. And he came up to me afterwards and he was just like, what do you think? And I thought, yeah, I'm kind of like, it's fine. He goes, I loved it. And I was like, wow, you came to that decision quickly. To me, it wasn't quite like that. Do you know who else was there? I don't know if you had seen Tim Dennis was there as well.
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, I had been talking with Tim from Darkness Radio for a while, but I've never actually met him in person. So it was really nice to see him. And we chatted for quite a while, actually.
No, we kind of had to bounce right after the flick was over. So
because you're dying of COVID.
And we didn't know at that point. That's when we checked our phones and our daughter had said, hey, can you pick up a COVID test? I feel absolutely horrible.
Oh my God.
And it's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
And she had just gone to homecoming, I think the Friday night before. So if you time it out and then she got the positive test, like,
it's crazy.
It really is.
It's crazy how that works. And the main thing from all that is everyone is on the mend. I don't want to say better because it doesn't happen quickly like that.
No, I still have the fatigue from it, but I can smell things now. I can taste things now, and I can make it through a full day of work without it hitting 1 o'clock and being like, I need a nap.
It is truly horrible. And you know, the thing about that too, is that it's one thing if you lose your taste. Okay. I mean, that's horrible enough as it is. But you lose your taste, but in fact, it's replaced by making everything taste putrid and disgusting.
Oh yeah.
That's just really uncalled for.
My wife could have fed me Swedish meatballs, and it's one of the foods I cannot stand. And I would have ate it just fine because I couldn't taste it, but I needed substance.
See, I mean, everything tasted nasty.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like really, like I would have loved to have no taste over the nastiness. I mean, it was actually scary of like, why could it possibly taste so horrible? And Emily says that she never got that with COVID. I hope no one does, quite frankly.
It stinks. It's bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's some nasty stuff right there. And I had a friend of mine, Cindy, she had COVID at the same time I did. And so afterwards we got back together for lunch, and she, when we went for lunch, she didn't have her taste back yet. But we were having lunch, and I did. And then all of a sudden it literally came back to her during lunch. And I mean, she nearly started to cry that she got her taste back. I mean, that's crappy that people have to go through that. It's just really,
it isn't pleasant, but at
No.
least it didn't end up in a hospital or anything. So
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You
you got it a lot worse than I did.
I also lost. You can't tell because I gained it back. I lost like 25 pounds as well.
And see, that's where I would rather go with a tapeworm for the quick diet than COVID.
Right? No, I mean, that's just it. I just have whatever, right? Why don't we go ahead and do this? We're going to go take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about pets in the afterlife and what everyone thought. And also feel free to put them in the comments. If you have not answered my Facebook post, you can put those in the comments, or you can give us a call at 952-946-6205. We're doing Casual Friday, Adam and myself. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. And join us on Halloween. We've been talking about it for a while, but we are really excited about it. We're doing the special 3-hour live broadcast from Stillwater, just in the same building as Midwest Witchery and Healing. We're doing our special episode of GhostBox Radio, and it's going to be part radio show, part paranormal investigation. If you are listening to us on the radio right now, we'd love to have you listen to us Tuesday, or check out one of our live stream platforms, Facebook, AM 950 Radio, or GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken on Facebook. We're going to be running it. Same with GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken on YouTube. It's a great way to see the inside of this building. Plus, honestly, we don't know what's going to show up when we do our investigation. Wouldn't it be cool if something actually shows up that we can see and talk about, or whatever else, and it wouldn't be impossible. So give us a watch there. I mean, and Adam is going to be back here in the studio. That's exciting.
I'll have my finger on the dump button in case you guys do get that full body apparition.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to be,
I know if I saw a full body apparition, live broadcast or not, my reaction would not be FCC compatible.
No. I mean, that's a fair point. Emily asks if there are tickets for this event. Unfortunately, it's not an in-person event. It is just a live radio event that we're doing. That building that's in Stillwater, and I always forget the name of it, that Midwest Witchery and Healing is closed Mondays and Tuesdays. So it's very perfect for us to be able to have it to ourselves. We got permission to do all that, whatever. But down the line, though, we are planning on doing events, doing paranormal events, get the public involved, get tickets out there. It's just that Tuesday is not going to be one of them. And we originally were thinking about doing it, but right now that's just kind of a decision that we had made. But it will happen down. But please watch and enjoy and take part. Put in comments if you see something. We'll have a lot of cameras up on screen at once. If you see something, put it in the comments. Let us know, and we'll go and check it out. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Let's see. Brad says that our reactions to just seeing shadows running at us isn't FCC compliant. Think of the language with a full body sighting. Yeah. Well, I mean,
it would be very colorful.
Yeah.
But a joyous, colorful language, like holy me.
Right.
What did I just see? There's no way I just meet saw that.
I'm sure the FCC would understand.
I would hope so.
It's a spirit. Come on, and I'm sure they'd be all cool with that. So
it'd be great. It's not like we're Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl.
It's like it's a spirit. We good? Yeah, it's not no one has to play the role of Justin Timberlake for this broadcast, thank God. So yeah, absolutely. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And then you're going to set up some equipment here, right?
Yeah, so with Halloween essentially being the time of the year that the veil is the thinnest between the two worlds, and we've had encounters here, I am going to bring my digital recorder in and set it up on the stairway where one of the last times I was in before Captain Tripp showed up, I heard 2 footsteps coming down those stairs. No one else was here other than me. You showed up about 25, 30 minutes later. And of course, we've talked about the light going on in the transmitter room. We've both had the phantom smells of the perfume, flowery smell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a good time to set the REM pod up in the transmitter room and the recorder on the stairs.
Yep, and knowing how well you do with that stuff being by yourself, I'm really looking forward to how that plays out.
I'm actually, sadly, I'm kind of excited.
Well, we'll see.
I've had the taste once of going on a paranormal investigation with you, and I'm telling you, I'm jonesing for more.
Well, just remember, don't leave your post, and like if you get scared, we still got a show to do on Tuesday.
No, but there is a door I can shut and be like, you can't pass through here. You know, totally trick myself into, you know, like I think I'm thin.
Well, and Brad brings up a really good point. You are excited until you get touched.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Oh, that's the best part. That's the best part, Adam, is when you get touched.
You know, the first EVP I caught when we were at the Grant House, I didn't think I could get. I didn't think I was going to catch anything. But I catch a couple of EVPs at the Grant House, and I literally spent 3 days re-listening to it just to disprove what was on my recorder, and I could not. So that's why setting up even by myself, I'm very excited for.
Now, Brad was with me when I was touched by Sasquatch, as it happens.
Brad lives in Shelby County, Indiana. Are we sure it just wasn't Brad?
Brad, we're very sure, and Brad would tell you that he was wondering what I was doing when I kept looking behind me, because it's like I thought something touched me, and it wasn't a touch; it was hand on, and it's cool. It's very cool. And
I got to go squatching with you guys, especially, you know, you guys are down in the Kentucky, Indiana area. Those are my old stomping grounds where I grew up.
And Bigfoot's, he was stomping around that night too, multiple of them. And Brad said, I did ask Brad, like, did you just touch me? And Brad was like 4 feet away.
Oh, wow.
But he has long arms. That's the thing about it. It's very abnormally proportioned individual. So, you know, we laughed at him a long time when we first saw him that night. So no, Brad is a regular human being. So with that being said, why don't we talk about pets a little bit?
Yeah, I was reading a bunch of the comments that came in on the GhostBox page and on your page, because a lot of people replied there. Some of them are so touching. It's kind of like, I'm not crying.
No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Here you are. Yeah, there's a couple of them in there. I'm just like, man, that's beautiful, but sad at the same time.
And so I want to first talk a little bit about last night. I was at home. And so in that home that I've been in for nearly 20 years, we've had a total of 3 cats there. One cat named Dave, who is a rag doll, and one cat named AJ, and then my current cat Linus. And so last night, and AJ has always been the little scrawny one, just a little, had a lot of vim and vigor to her, but she was one that often would get forgotten. And so last night I said, AJ, if you're here, can you make the lights flicker? And nothing happened. I didn't expect it to. It's totally okay. This morning I wake up around 5 a.m., which is gross, but I did anyway. And I was kind of in bed, and to my left is where the bathroom is, and there is a night light in there. So there's a little bit of light in there, and I see this silhouette of a cat walking out of the bathroom, and it's not Linus.
How cool is that?
I mean, it is absolutely 100% not Linus. And she went behind the clothes basket, because I don't put anything away. And then there's that was really about it. And it was one of those things that I just like wait, did I just really see that? I mean, I wasn't like half asleep. I was just like, I look over and I see this little creature walking, and I'm like, unbelievable, unbelievable. And it was so sweet. It was her. It was beautiful. I love it. I love it. I miss her very, very much. So the question was last week, have you been visited by a pet after they passed? If so, what happened? And boy, folks, did you tell me what happened? So we're gonna read through some of these. And Adam, I think you might have had one too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did put one in there.
Why don't we talk about that in the next segment?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Lexi starts us off. Not from my latest kitty who passed, but my first cat that I had ever. I used to feel a cat jump on my bed at night when I was little and would go to pet a cat and there wouldn't be a cat there. Now, Rob Guttrow, who you said that you're just listening to that episode.
Yeah, I was.
That's one of the things he had said as well. That's most common. I've had that as well.
Mhm.
I don't know, Adam, if you heard the part where Rob says that that the pets who passed, they actually help find your current pet. Like they connect you.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I got to that
Mhm.
section of it on my lunch break at work when I was listening to that one today, and it makes sense. It really does.
It does, and it was funny because not that I doubted him by any stretch of imagination, but you know, it's just like I don't know if they told him or whatever. But then Jody, when I was in Stillwater today, we were talking about stuff, and she said the same thing as she's a medium, and it was like, wow, that's really cool because I never actually really heard that before.
And it makes total sense because after a pet dies and you decide to finally get another pet, you're going out there blindly, because the pet can't answer you when you're at the pound or at a breeder or wherever you might be getting that pet from. But there is something that will attract you to a certain animal.
I think so, and I was really missing Dave, and Linus looks an awful lot like Dave.
Oh, right
So
on.
it's just interesting. Mandy Beach says, yes, different ones in different ways throughout the years. Seeing them out of the corner of my eyes, dreams, which Rob says that's like the number one way that they come back to you. Hearing them meow, yep, heard the jingle of one of my dog's collar tags once, and feeling them jump on the bed at night. And actually, a couple years ago, after my 20-year cat Jezebel passed, I was listening to your Sunday night GhostBox live show, and I heard her meow come through the spirit box. It had only been a couple of days after she passed, so I was really focused on her coming through, and she did. I remember 2 other people had commented that they heard a meow too, so I knew I didn't just make it up. It was pretty amazing, so thank you for that. That's very nice.
Right on.
That's very. I miss doing those spirit box sessions. It just doing this 5 nights a week is, it's just weird. It's just I don't think I could do 6 lives a week.
No, but you did hop on a few weeks ago and do one. I was
did.
watching that, and that was fun.
It was
That
fun.
was a lot of fun.
I need to do that again. Lisa says I haven't seen them, but I have definitely felt them crawling on the bed at night. If it brings me comfort. It's really interesting. Kind of keep track of how many people are feeling their animals jumping on the bed.
Mhm.
Diana says I wish, and that makes me feel sad because I would like her to be able to experience that. Anne says, yes, our cat Mittens, after having her for 18 years, we heard her meows and saw her shape walking around, kind of like what I just saw. Even the dog looked that direction and went over and sniffed. My husband and I watched it at the same time. That's nice.
Wow, that's one of those ones that I did come across on the comments, and I'm like, oh,
That is really nice. Let's see here. This is a longer one. Kelly says my Shih Tzu Rosie passed in 2016. Did you have your hand over the button when I was saying that? After battling stomach cancer, she was 14. I was in such deep grief after she passed. I couldn't eat for a month. I only ingested protein bars twice a day. It was all I could choke down, and lost 30 pounds. About 2 months after she passed, she started visiting me in my dreams. The first time the dream was so real. My grandma, who had passed in 2009, came to me in that dream as well. She told me she had Rosie and was taking excellent care of her. Wow.
that's beautiful.
When I woke up, I could still smell my grandmother's funeral. Oh, God,
Oh.
perfume. Sorry, perfume. It's my grandmother's perfume. That's one way to ruin a good story, isn't it?
Yeah, I can smell my grandmother's funeral because they all have that weird plant. No
That
matter what funeral,
they have that. Well, they have that rose smell.
Yeah,
Which odd. Her name's Rosie. My grandma also told me in that dream that she would send signs that Rosie was still with me. To this day, 7 years later, I'll get signs from Rosie and my grandma. Either they'll visit me together or one by one in dreams. Sometimes I see a cardinal, my grandma's favorite bird. I'll randomly see or hear the name Rosie on radio or TV. Absolutely. And Rosie isn't a common name. I've had a couple of times when random strangers have given me a rose at concerts, bars, etc. So I know she's still with me. Well, luckily, Bounty doesn't use Rosie anymore as a tag person. The quick where she'd do the quicker picker upper.
Wow, that's a pull.
That really is. It really is. It shows that I am not young. It shows that I've been around for a while. Jennifer says that I am not positive, but I think so. I still see my old black lab on occasion, mostly at the cabin. Out of the corner of my eye, I do double take and she's gone. I have heard collar tags jingling when all the other dogs are in for the night. Speaking of jingling, Sarah Beck also says, I heard his collar jingling and felt him jumping on the bed to snuggle in. Also, my kids heard or felt him at different times. He was such a good dog. Moving on, Dale says, one of my dogs passed away later that night. I was in the bathroom and I see her walk in through a closed door. I think she was telling me it was okay. Isn't it something that we have to have them tell us that it's okay, as we are so grief stricken?
Yeah, because, like with a dog, they're almost like, and I hate to say it, but they're like eternally a toddler.
Yeah.
And, cats, their man's complacent roommate. I get that. But, a dog almost seems like it needs more care than a cat will. So I know when my dog Annie, when she finally goes, we're going to hear the jingles and we're going to hear her, because she doesn't bark, but she does this little thing.
How does that go again? Okay, so that's great.
So, that's what we'll end up hearing.
Absolutely. Let me do two more before we head into break here. A month after my cat Sabretooth passed in 2006, I had my tonsils out. This is Michelle. Sabretooth and I were soulmates. We had an incredible fur. We had an incredible fur baby and fur mommy connection. His passing devastated me. During my recovery from surgery at home, I was laying in the recliner, trying to sleep the pain away, when I felt something jump on top of me and curled up on the same spot where Sabretooth used to lay on me. I felt his weight on me and was able to pet him, feeling his body, but not seeing him. I could also hear his purring. We had no other pets at the time. I knew it was Sabretooth, as he used to lay on me and purr whenever I didn't feel well. I know 100% that he was there to heal me. Isn't that something?
That's beautiful. And that's also a really cool name.
It is pretty cool name. It's really good. Cheryl says, my little buddy came to visit me again today. He liked to make shapes with his toys, lines, triangles, squares, and 1, 2, 3 designs. He also sends me dimes. Sometimes see one falling out of the sky.
That's kind of cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, she also sent me a picture of there's 5 toys, excuse me, and they're kind of like almost shaped in a line, but kind of a pyramid. They start the larger ones at the bottom, and it gets to the top where it's just one, and it's really interesting. Wow. Why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to read more of these. Hopefully you're all are cool with this, because this is really interesting. I love this. Thank you all so much for doing this. When we come back, we're going to hear Adam's story as well, and we'll keep going through these pets in the afterlife. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. And join us on Monday, as we do on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakken. We're going to have on Ken Boggle. And if you have had a chance to watch his new Hulu series, Living for the Dead, it's pretty fantastic. I think it's a fantastic series. If you haven't watched it yet, go and check it out. There's 8 episodes. We had a conversation with him today, and we're going to be playing that on Monday. And Ken, I've known Ken for so long, and he is such a good person and so deserving of an opportunity like this. So we have a great conversation on Monday, and I hope that you tune in and we talk about it. We are casually making our way into the weekend, and this is very exciting. We've been talking about pets in the afterlife, and it sounds like that, all of you are really enjoying hearing these stories. These are really nice to hear. I have one I want to read, and then we'll get Adam to talk about his. Todd says, 3 days after Elvis, my golden retriever of 12.5 years, came to me in a dream. We were up at the school grounds and park where we walked regularly. Go ahead, words.
I
Adam.
hate that word.
I really don't. Yeah.
I can't do that word. So normally he would walk with his dog there.
Right. Let's try it one more time. Regularly.
Yeah, that's why I always switch it out.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Thesaurus is our friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly words aren't mine. He was running behind a pack of dogs and didn't look so good. I was shocked to see him, and I called him to me. I could feel him as I pet him, and I blurted out how much I missed him, and I was glad he was back. He looked at me and said, "Dad, these dogs are fixing to cross the bridge, and we're having a hard time. It's my job to help them understand, and I need to go back and help them." I said, "Okay, boy, go, Elvis, go." He was so happy and running, and I finally felt good. Upon waking up, I felt it was as real as waking life. I felt better knowing he and I are never really apart. He just had a new job.
That's so cool.
Wow, isn't that something?
I like that one.
So your story better be just as good, Adam.
It's not.
Yeah, tell me about Trophy.
Okay, so I had she was 3/4 Siamese cat, so cream white with a little bit of gold splotches within her fur.
Mhm.
Beautiful blue eyes, but cross-eyed.
Sure.
But she had this respiratory issue. And when she would breathe, she would sound like someone snoring.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after she died, I think I was 17 at that point, and I'd had that cat 10 years at that juncture, and she wasn't a kitten when we got her. She was probably about 3. So she would have been about 13 years old when she passed. And I had the bed in my bedroom in my mom's house. It was just a regular, twin bed or whatnot. But I would always sleep up against the wall because the wall was always cold.
Mm-hmm.
So that left the whole other side of the bed open. And I had this giant Chicago White Sox pillow that would be at the bottom of my bed or on the foot of my bed, but up on the bed. And that's where Trophy would sleep. And I would fall asleep every night to her snore. About 4 or 5 days after she died, I woke up to that snoring sound. And for the next 5 to 7 nights, I think it was about a week, that snoring sound was there every single night and did not come back until the night before I left to go to Quincy, Illinois to go to college the first time. That last night, I actually slept in that bed. I heard that noise.
Wow.
And haven't heard it again ever since. But the very last night I slept at my mom's house, really ever living there, Trophy was there that night.
That's incredible. That's a great story. That's a great
oh, thank you.
Yeah. You can stay.
Okay.
No, but that was that's really cool. And you got to think, what was the reason behind that Trophy just wanted to kind of Trophy wasn't done with you, at least in that house.
Yeah, I think she wanted to say goodbye. I think her and everybody else knew I was gone for good once I left.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really cool. Let's continue on. Is this still working for you, Adam?
Oh yeah.
You're good. Because I'm enjoying this.
I like this because pets are a part of the family. They really are. They're like another child, or they become part of that nucleus family.
Very much so. Very much so. Aaron says, yes, I lost the first dog I ever had as an adult. She grew up with my kids. We lost her 2019 due to a stroke. I feel her still jump on my bed, right? I mean, that's and the weight of her laying on my feet as she did in life. I actually turned on the lamp to see if I could see her. I knew what I could physically feel. I love even she comes for a visit. I had a connection with her like no other animal in my life. I feel blessed. I feel like we get one, at least one, that is like truly your best friend,
Yeah.
that just, and as much as I love Linus, that was Dave. Dave was it for me,
Dave was your guy.
that Dave was my guy. I mean, it was literally like, there was one day that it was, I don't even know what happened. I mean, my ex-wife was still living out. We were still married, and Dave was actually her cat. But Dave and I bonded very well. And there was something going on where there was tornadoes outside and the sirens were going off. We did something inside where the smoke alarms were going off all at the same time. Is pandemonium in the house. And I just looked down at this cat, which normally you would think a cat would just run like crazy.
Yeah, loud noises. Yeah.
And I just said, Dave, I need you to stay here because I might have to grab you. And he just stayed there.
Oh, wow.
It just stayed there. I mean, it was like, holy cow. And I actually, every night at 9 p.m., I would lay down in my bed and this is when my wife was still there, and it was a very unhappy time. And I'm sure it was an unhappy time for her. I don't want to give it a one-sided sort of thing. But I would lay in the bed and he would come up, jump up in the bed and lay. And I'd actually kind of lay in his body a little bit, and I'd just tell him just how unhappy I was.
Yeah.
And he just sat there and he listened. And more than anyone else would, because I didn't share my unhappiness, because it's hard sometimes.
It really is.
And then about 20 minutes later, and this was every night, 20 minutes later, he'd be like, okay, I've heard enough. He'd get up and jump off the bed and carry on. And that was enough. It was just like soothing enough for that. And so he was truly someone very special, and they all are special, but Dave is always going to be the number one. And that's what I absolutely I miss very much. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. I'm just trying to find. There's so many good ones here. Bishop Christina Rake says my house is haunted by a little blue dog. A little blue dog, probably a terrier. So many have seen him, including shamans and remote viewers. When my chihuahuas were alive, both have visited. We'd swear one or the other ran out the door, only to find out they were both asleep upstairs. Okay, so phantom dogs, basically. Once my husband saw a blanket on the floor moving as if something was underneath. How would you deal with that one, Adam?
Well, I don't know.
Should we put a blanket in here on Tuesday, see what happens? A new piece of paranormal equipment, just see if the blanket moves.
I would try that in any place else, but here, in case the ants come back, they just might be moving the blanket, so we could
that's
debunk
true.
that one easily.
True, no kidding.
But no, with the blanket, I think I would first try to make sure there wasn't a rodent underneath it.
Yeah, well, I mean, here.
Yeah, but then after that, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's got to be either my pet or another animal pulling the blanket.
Or you lift it up as Patrick underneath.
I'm sorry, Patrick, we gave away your living quarters.
So Christina Rake saying once her husband saw a blanket on the floor moving as if something was underneath. He thought it was Miles, our auxiliary chihuahua. So many big words tonight. Mark started talking teasingly. I see the blanket moving. I wonder what's underneath. Then he pounced on the obviously little bulge under the comforter, only to find it collapse with nothing solid beneath. He flipped up the blanket and shook it out. Boy, imagine if there was still a dog in that. No dog. He looked all around. No dog. He ran upstairs, opened the bedroom, and woke her up. Are both dogs with you? And Christina was like, yeah, they're on either side of my butt. I don't know why she need to be so accurate with what had been said, but okay. Pull off the blanket. Yeah, it could have just been, they're on either side of me, but no, she's like, yeah, they're on either side of my butt. Okay. Thank you, Bishop Rake. Pull off the blanket. I pulled down the blanket and both were snoozing on either side of me. Mark was white as a sheet. That one of the weirder stories. That is weird.
That is weird, but also really kind of cool too, just to see the blanket moving.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just it. Let's see. Leanne says, I've had my cats CYCO. Is that, do we call that psycho?
Sure, why not?
And sorry, Leanne, if it's something else. For 13 years, I went without a pet for 13 years. Then another cat entered my life. Many times I'm laying in bed and I feel the cat jump up and laying next to my leg. I look, getting ready to snuggle. Bed is empty. I know she visits me. It's true.
Oh yeah.
It's very true. Let's see here. Just checking in. Marcy says that wish she could see or feel her German Shepherd Molly. Although I think she sent my service dog, I have now AJ, which is kind of what we were talking about. That they, and Rob Guttrow, Marcy, I don't know if you've seen that episode, and if not, anyone who has not seen it, Rob was on the show last week, and you can look at ghostboxradio.com to listen to the episode. He had said, too, if you want to see your pet, all you have to do is ask. But that's probably meaning more in a dream. And just because, like I said at the top of all this, just because I said, AJ, if you're here, can you make the lights flicker? That doesn't mean they're going to do how you want to do it. They're going to do it how they're able to do it.
It's just like talking to a human spirit in that, they're not going to perform
right
when and where you want them to. But if they do have the energy to make themselves known, then they will.
Absolutely. I find it interesting, though, Marcy, you have your dog, AJ, and we've been talking about my cat, AJ, all night. Just always those wonderful, wonderful things. Let's see. Chrissy says, yes, I was dog sitting for Chewy several months after our dog had passed. Early morning, Chewy starts growling at stairs, full defensive, hairs up. He sees something on the stairs. I couldn't see anything. Barks several times at the stairs and changes his behavior and starts wagging tail and jumping around the stairs like he is chasing or playing with another dog. He ends by coming back to the couch with me and looks at stairs, wagging tail. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That is totally the dog visiting. Wow, that's cool. That one is, growling, then going to the tail wagging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
It is very much so.
It's like Intruder. Oh no, wait, you're fine. Good times.
Right, exactly. Robin says that my cat Wilson came back several hours after he was struck by a drunk driver on the street where we lived. All I saw was a flash of his tail rounding the corner, and he was gone. I think he came back to get something to eat, realized he couldn't do that, and moved on and left, and never saw him come back again. That's a bummer.
Hopefully he'll come back and visit.
It'd even be more, I mean, as someone who enjoys food, and I go to eat, I'm like, what do you mean I can't do this anymore?
Yeah.
What's happening here? I'm hungry. I need a full pizza. So, what I didn't bring up, actually, Adam, was on my way over here, I went to Mavericks. Have you ever heard of Mavericks roast beef sandwiches?
Is that there in Stillwater?
There is one in Stillwater. I think it's still in Stillwater, but they had the original location is in Roseville.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I was on 36 that I was thinking about coming out to the station, but getting something to eat because I was running around all day. I'm like, I want to go to Mavericks. Folks, I'm gonna be honest. They're not paying me to say this. If you can go to Mavericks, go. It is phenomenal food. If you like really good roast beef sandwiches, I just blown away by it. It's one of those meals, Adam, that I'm eating slow because I don't want it to end.
Yeah, and you don't want to order another one.
Well, no.
So you got to savor the first one because the second one, you should have ordered a second one.
It's a pound of food.
Yeah, but you could have taken it home in a doggy bag, since we're talking about pets, and had it for later.
I see what you did there, my friend. I see what you did. So as we wrap up the week, don't forget on Monday, we're going to have on Ken Boggle. It's going to be a fantastic episode. Check out his show on Hulu, Living for the Dead. Please make sure to visit ghostboxradio.com to find past episodes of our radio shows and like us over on Facebook at Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. Also, send any comments or feedback to comment@ghostboxradio.com. Don't forget to check out the best of Ghostbox Radio, airing Saturdays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. on AM 950. And finally, whether you're chasing spirits or just drinking them, please be careful. We're going to see you Monday as we talk to Ken Boggle. Everyone, have a great weekend and take care. Thank you, Adam.